So John Tillerman is joining us. Hi, mate. How you doing? You all right?
I'm very good, thanks, Carl. Thanks
Yeah,
for having
nice
us.
one. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, mate. We were just having a little chat before, weren't we? And we know some old friends from school. Like we kind of like know each other through each other, which is quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, Genius links. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a small world, isn't it? Especially in Yorkshire.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So are you from Sheffield originally then?
I used to work in Sheffield five and a
Right,
half
okay.
years. I'm from near Huddersfield, a little place called Murfield. Have you heard of it?
Murphy,
Murfield.
I'm aware of it. I couldn't pick it
Patrick
out.
Stewart. That's where he was born and
Oh, is
grew up.
it?
So claim
Okay,
to fame. Yeah,
fair enough.
that's
And
it.
and where exactly is Murphy? What's it near? Let me try and get me
It,
there.
well, it's in between Brighouse and Dewsbury. It's on M62. So how
Right.
I describe to people, it's the crosshair of England. M1,
Yeah.
M62, right in
Okay.
the middle. There you go. Stick a pin. That's Murfield.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So, yeah, but this podcast is all about, getting to know people and telling the story of, uh, there's always a story to be told, in this music industry
There is.
that we love. And this podcast is all about warts and all. So let's just have an open, honest chat about what it's all about, eh?
Absolutely. It sounds good to
Nice
me.
one.
Let's do
Yes.
it.
So if nobody's heard of Tillerman, John, tell us all about it. What is Tillerman?
Yeah. So Tillerman, we're a four-piece band, kind of retro sounding. As I describe it to many people, it's kind of pulling on the influences of our parents' record collections,
Yeah.
Beatles, Stones, Fleetwood Mac, etc., and trying to bring a modern twist to that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what it is from a sound perspective, anyway. Guitar based as well.
So obviously it's a band, isn't it? So
Yeah,
talk us through your history of music. What was the political landscape like as a little John growing up as a chap?
that's it. Well, I grew up in the 80s. And I suppose I didn't get into playing music till I was a bit older.
Yeah.
Parents really didn't push anything as musical instruments or anything like that.
Mm.
But I can remember making up little songs and stuff for my friends. I remember analysing tracks at the age of 7 or 8 and working out why stuff was catchy and really being fascinated by it. My natural talent had always been from a young age art. So I was drawing stuff way beyond my years at 2 years old,
Yeah.
where kids would be scribbling and stuff like that. So I always had a creative streak. And I think for a lot of musical artists, it tends to stem from art. And so you get to see a lot of people coming out of art college going
Mm.
into bands, etc., like your Jarvises and your Damon Albans, etc.
Yeah.
So art for me was kind of fundamental to my identity as a kid, and I kind of found my way into music as I grew older. And as you do, when you're 16, 17, you get into bands at sixth form. You find out if you're any good or not. You play a few crap gigs,
Yeah.
and then that was probably the early days, as it were, my kind of journey into writing songs and messing around and things like that.
Yeah. So like around you then, so like away from art and music and stuff, what was the landscape around you like? Is it, was there nothing to do? Was it loads to do? The times are completely different now, aren't they, compared to what it were like when we were chaps, just knocking about the
That's it. I mean, black and white TV with four channels.
street.
Yeah. Yeah, BMX, climbing trees, come back home when it gets dark, that type of
Yeah.
thing. A working class family, you
Yeah.
know, not tons of money around, but we had enough. Do you know what I mean? And I had a twin sister as well, and a few years later, my brother came along. Our Tom was actually 7 year gap there. So yeah, your average kind of Joe Yorkshire family, really. From a working class background.
Oh, so you're a twin then?
I am, yeah. Twin sister. Although I always get asked, "Are you identical?" And I'm kind of scratching my head, thinking, "Is that possible?" So I hope not.
I'm always
But
fascinated by
yeah,
twins. I don't know what it is about twins. Did you? What was it like? What's it like being a twin?
do you know what? I think not knowing anything different. I think it's only
Yeah.
seeing other people that don't have that kind of close sibling relationship. It was great growing up because I always had someone the same age going through the same stage of life, someone to play with, share experiences with, etc. Someone at the same stage of life, same class at school up and through the primary school years. I think if it had been a twin brother, we'd have probably got up to you know, different activities, etc. Would have been a different kind of relationship. But yeah, no, it was good. Then my brother came along 7 years after
Yeah.
we were born, so a bit of a gap there. But he's the drummer in the band, Tillerman, so
Oh,
adding a dynamic to the family when he came on the scene.
And what's it like having a sibling in the band? You know, there's famous stories about brothers in bands and, you know, not getting on, isn't there? How do you guys, uh,
Yeah, oh, that's
how
this.
do
I
you,
mean,
how do you get on creatively?
yeah, it's an interesting one. We don't fight or argue. We never have done, which is weird. I think it's because of the 7 year difference. I've always seen him. I've always been a kind of a father figure. You know, when I was 14, he was 7, and so on and so forth. But yeah, we get on really well. I think because we sound the same as well vocally. When we used to work at Pizza together years ago, and people always used to mistake us when we were talking because we've got exactly the same vocal tone. So that adds quite a unique sound to the band's music actually, because we do harmonies together, etc. And it sometimes sound like it's double tracked. So yeah, it's a good dynamic to have, and you obviously see successful brother partnerships in many bands like the Gallagher's and the Davis brothers, etc.
Yeah.
So it's good to bring that part to the music.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So, so the origin of the band, then, just talk us through your relationship with music just before you started the band, then, just and you personally, tell us your story.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things growing up was getting a karaoke machine for Christmas one
Right.
year, and I couldn't play guitar or anything then, so I was using backing tracks from like 1960 stuff like Rhinestone Cowboy and Downtown by
Yeah.
Petula Clark, and rewriting the lyrics, and coming up with stuff, and having the backing tracks there already made. That was really fun. And then I learned to play guitar when I was about 18. But before that, I think when I got into my first band at 17 through school, um, joined as a lead singer, wasn't particularly good, terrified on stage. That
Yeah.
didn't last long, to be fair. And then after that, I learned to play guitar and find my voice, really started writing my own songs and thinking, you know what? I'm not bad at this. I know how to write a song. I might
Yeah.
not have the best voice in the world, but I can write a tune, and that kind of put me in good stead. So formed a new band. My brother came into the fold. He played drums from the age of about 6 or 7, and then with a few other friends, we formed First Incarnation. And we were called Wearing Green. Bit of a crap name, really. It's because of a venue.
Everybody has a shite name to start off with.
That's right.
Don't beat yourself up
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Then I suppose the turning point was meeting Sean, the guitarist, who can't be on the call today. But I was playing basketball down at our local playing fields, and along comes this chap in a pot pie hat and a New York Yankees baseball top when we just hit it off. And then,
Yeah.
lo and behold, a few weeks later, he turned up at the place I was working. He joined the team as well, and we ended up working in a kitchen together. I didn't know he played guitar at the time, and then he started coming along to some band practices that we had on a night. Picked up a guitar because he used to play classical years ago at school, and then it just worked. And then invited him to join, and then we started writing together. So that was probably the catalyst of the journey from there to where we are now. So the core of the band is me, my brother, Sean, the guitarist, and we'd had several bass players along the line until we got the one we got today, which is Ian. Yeah, then we.
Where did you dig in up from then? Where did you find him?
It was funny. My brother was working at Pizza up in Leeds, and he was one of the waiters. So we both met Sean and Ian in the places we were working, and it just
Oh,
chance meetings. He told us he played bass, got him down to a practice, and it was unbelievable. I was like, wow, where's this kid been hiding?
yeah.
So yeah, thankfully he joined, and then we started to push on really, and then we became Satellite, a different incarnation,
What a
doing the kind of
satellite.
lead scene. Satellite, yeah. So Cockpit in Leeds was a regular haunt, as well as some of the venues in Huddersfield, etc. Most of these are knocked down now. We've got
Yeah.
Joseph's Well in Leeds, long gone,
Yeah.
buried beneath the car park, which is a real shame. But the Cockpit was one of them.
Yeah. I remember those venues well. And you mentioned you used to work in a kitchen.
Yeah, so I was I did an art and design degree, complete waste of time. Graduated, graduated at 22 because I took a year out. Had no idea what I wanted to do. So I ended up staying in the kitchens, working as a head chef for about 3 or 4 years until I figured out what I wanted to do. And obviously, across that time of studying, we were trying to push the band as well, because fundamentally, what we really wanted to do is make a living out of music and get signed. That's the dream. Get signed, get a record deal. That's your full time job. But it's a long shot for a lot of bands. So, but we give it a good crack, and we practiced and practiced. We gigged and gigged, and then after a while, we all got partnered up and it kind of petered out. So back in 2010 was when we played our last live gig, which was live at Leeds. And that was at Joseph Swell, which is now no longer in existence. And we all went off, got partnered up, got proper jobs, as it were. And then it was slowly but surely we came back to music after about 5 years leading up to COVID. And then that brings us to the present incarnation. There's a story behind that, but
Yeah.
that's where that period of life led.
Yeah, okay. There's a story behind what have we missed there? I don't want to miss anything out.
Yeah, so we'd kind of all gone our separate ways at that point. 2010 played our last gig as Satellite, and the ironic thing was we'd finally found a bit of a sound beforehand. We kind of dabbled at this, that, and the other. We'd all got eclectic record collections. We'd had a metal incarnation of what we're doing. We'd
That's,
had a cheesy pop incarnation. And we really didn't know what we were. And then we started to sound a little bit more kind of Britpop towards the end of 2010. And the stuff we were writing was really good, but just life got in the way. We had to bite the bullet and get proper jobs, as it were, and down tools, and kind of life took over. And then I think it was in 2015, 16, Sean started playing for joined another band in Cleckheaton called The Hijacked as a lead guitarist. And I'd watched from a distance Sean play these gigs, put out a couple of albums, really good. And I suppose that creative itch needed scratching,
yeah.
going back into dusting down some old demos, writing some new stuff. I bought a little 8-track to put some ideas on. And then I got back in the studio in 2019 to put some tracks down. And I asked Sean if he'd come in and put his guitars down. My brother came in, and Ian came back as well. We worked on 2 or 3 new tracks, and we thought, you know what, this is pretty good. And then we knocked out a music video. We did a bit of promo regarding that, and then we were picked up by a German record label and publisher called FBP Music in Frankfurt, which we never had before. We'd had a bit of attention for the first time in our music.
Slow down a little bit. How do you like even have a relationship with anybody in Germany just from, just starting and
Yeah.
picking and,
Yeah. Well, I
having
mean,
another go at it? How do those kind of things happen?
when we were first doing this years ago, I think the only outlet was things like MySpace, which was
Yeah.
pretty crap. And there wasn't, apart from, the paper, the tabloids, etc., there wasn't really much online output for kind of music. People were still buying CDs. There wasn't the online streaming presence that you've got now with Spotify. So it was hard to find bands unless you were just relentlessly gigging. We used to send demos off to labels in the post back in the day, before MP3s and all that. And during that time when we kind of went silent for a good probably 8 or 9 years, there's this boom in technology. You've seen the rise of Napster. You've got MP3s came into play. Then obviously Spotify in later years. Facebook appeared on the scene. MySpace fell by the wayside. And just for artists, you've just got so much more choice now to bring your music to the public. You don't necessarily have to be gigging every night of the week to whip up an audience. You can do it to a certain degree online through the right channels. But also there's things like, you might know, Muso Soup, Submit Hub, which we use as a band to get our music out there to playlisters, to creators, to people writing articles. And I think you actually featured our last single here, Angels Cry, through Muso Soup. So it's a great avenue to reach ears that you wouldn't have come across before. And also labels and creators, they sign up to these platforms to hear what's out there, so they don't have to visit 50 different venues in a week. They can got a one-stop shop to hear what's out there, what the different genres are, what music there is to offer the public.
Oh, okay. So did they just send you an email and just say hello, or did they contact you through one of these sites?
So we put, I think it was we put our first EP out on Submit Hub. And FBP Music picked it up and goes, "Oh, this sounds quite good." I sent another track. "Yeah, this is all right." And I sent another track. "Yeah, it's not bad." And we sent My Eden and said, "Oh, we really like this. We'd like to work with you and give you a publishing, sign up for a publishing deal." Well, this is brilliant. And I think after 15 to 20 years of gigging and writing and trying to get somewhere, it's the first time we'd been acknowledged for writing some decent stuff, and we had something that was finished. It was a finished product that actually held its, you know, it's it held up on its own, and was appealing. And these guys picked it up. We did a music video, and then had a really good response. And then we just carried on writing, really. And then, funny enough, we were looking for some kind of sponsorship opportunities through the instruments we used, and we're already using like Duesenberg guitars, Tama drums, etc. And we'd seen other bands get kind of endorsement deals. We thought this might be a good way to kind of fund an album or another music video. We reached out to Duesenberg because we were playing some of their guitars, and they represent the likes of Johnny Depp, Joe Walsh from the Eagles, and they really liked it. And they offered initially Sean, our guitarist, endorsement deal and as a sponsored artist, and then they endorsed us as a band. So I thought, wow, in the space of knocking up 2 or 3 singles and an EP, we've got a label on board with us and a guitar manufacturer that want to work with us as well. So I thought, this is pretty cool. And I think it was an affirmation that we weren't just kidding ourselves, knocking out music that no one liked. It was actually pretty good stuff, which is why we've kicked on again, and which leads us to putting this debut album together.
No, it's great. And how did the family or, personal close relationships around you react to you going back into music after taking a while? Because, I
Yeah,
it's like when you get a bit older, my band split up because everybody couldn't commit to it anymore. They had family and
that's
kids,
it.
that kind of stuff around them. They just, it just wasn't a priority for them anymore. How did you, how did you, how did you, how did you do it?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's a dilemma for most people that have kind of might have got married, got kids. How do you balance that with an extracurricular hobby?
Yes.
You've got to get a pass to go out for a meal and a curry with your mates. Do you know what I mean? So this has taken a while. So from the first recordings we did at the end of 2019, it's taken us that long to this present time to finish an album with a few other tracks. Because of that very reason, it's hard to get the time to get into the studio. And it's very rarely we've all been there at once recording our bits. It's been as and when we've got an evening free, a Saturday free, etc. We've been able to put this together. It's difficult.
How does the family like how does the close people around you, how honest are they with you about the actual tunes and stuff? I find that
Yeah, I mean,
interesting because I'm just speaking for my personal life, but
yeah.
my missus should be like, oh, you're doing them stupid podcasts again. So,
Yeah, like your mother will always tell you brilliant, won't you? So your mother's always your biggest
yeah, okay.
fan. But you can't gauge how good you are off your family sometimes. But yeah, well received. I think if you've got a partner of any sort and you want to support them, you kind of back them, you back their interests. Sometimes you can get so lost in life and the mundaneness of it, work and family, etc., that you kind of lose yourself. And I think that's why I needed to get pulled back into music. I lost my identity to a certain degree. I'd been a creative since the age of 2, and then through getting a proper job, getting a mortgage, having a partner, having kids, it kind of gets pushed to the side, and you just become this functioning thing which pays bills. And I really needed to get back into being creative, and that was the same for Sean and the other guys, and it was a welcome relief from the day to day. And I think our partners saw that, and you know what, we'll entertain this because A, it's actually pretty good, and B, we like to see him, happy. I think, and if anything, we will make music for ourselves. I think long gone perhaps are the days of, getting signed to a major label and doing a massive tour. That's the dream, obviously, for most artists. But fundamentally, it's about making music. Into you've got to, if you are a creative, even if it's just for yourself, it's a great exercise to do. And it's something that's really so satisfying, and it's provided a back catalogue of stuff we can be really proud of, and it kind of represents all that work we put in over the years. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I,
now being
I,
endorsed.
I can relate to a lot of that because I think if I didn't have RGM to piss about with and just,
Yeah,
if I didn't have this creative thing that I do, this magazine, and still hang around in music, and I just had the day job, I think I'd be a miserable bastard.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I really would. I need this just to stay creative and keep my mind, doing what I want to do. I think I think I'd be a worse person without all the stress and the busyness and keeping content coming out all the time. I do kind of need it. I do moan about it,
Yeah.
but I need it.
And it's a passion as well, isn't it? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure, like me, you've got record collections that you dust down and you
yeah,
love, and you've got a musical journey yourself. You've got songs and bands which mean a lot to you. Now, I was walking to school with my Sony Walkman with a cassette, listening to
Yeah.
What's the Story, Morning Glory, and that's the soundtrack of my kind of A-level years. Do you know what I mean? Past as well, and these bands mean a lot. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose it's a lot of that kind of music which we're kind of putting into the stuff we're doing now. But from our day jobs, I work in global payroll, and Sean, the guitarist, works in commercial insurance. You know what I mean? So the two really dry sounding jobs, payroll and insurance. You know what I mean? But we are creative underneath, and if we don't have that outlet, I think we just fizzle away to this. You just lose yourself, wouldn't you? Your personality. You need something to.
You do,
Yeah.
you really do. Yeah, that rings true with me quite a lot. Like you just need it. You just need yourself, man. So where do you see yourself within the industry, and what? Yeah, I'll just ask that question to start off with. Where do you see yourself in the grand scheme of things now as Tillerman?
Yeah, it's a good question. But to be honest, I mean, from getting back into it, from writing some stuff, it was always just a scratch and itch. And then to kind of, to finish the story as it were, because it felt like we'd not completed that journey when we flipped out the first time round. We didn't really get much success the first time round. But now it's a case of building a bit of a legacy, something to look back on. But because we've been recognised for it, as I say, we've got a publisher, got a label, endorsements from Duesenberg. It feels like, you know what, there's some legs to this. I don't know how far it could go. A small following, selling out a few gigs, shifting a few vinyls. For us, in where we are now, that feels like success. Do you know what I mean? But you just never know. There are artists that have found success later in life.
Yeah.
I was having a Google earlier on, and there are a few like Sia, 41 when she first had her first number one. You know what I mean? Not that that's something we're aiming for. We've got other things, but you just never know. We think the music we've got is decent. We just want it to be heard, really. And if that opens up a wider audience, then that will be absolutely fantastic.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I can remember being in a band when I got to my mid-20s. I thought, oh, I'm right old now. It's just not going to happen for me. But the industry is different for the better, I think, these days, where you can get involved, you can release music, you can do your own thing. You just have to not put a lot of pressure on yourself and just see where you go, I think, and just enjoy it. I think there's a lot to be said. I see far too many bands that take it miles too fucking seriously. And I just think just enjoy it, for God's sake.
Absolutely. Make music you like and put it out there. I mean, you look at someone like Jerry Cinnamon, doesn't have a record deal. Yeah. He's got his success based on him writing for himself, having a good time, finding an audience and an audience connecting with it. That would have never happened 20 years ago. And if you didn't have a label, you had nothing. You had no vehicle to reach the masses. But nowadays, you can be your own label. You can release stuff yourself through Bandcamp, Spotify, etc. So if you're pretty smart and you're quite savvy and self-promotion, etc., you don't really need a label. And therefore, the artists that come to the fold and in the public domain, they're a lot more varied than you would have got 20, 30 years ago. The record industry, they box up something and they sell it. It's a product, isn't it? But nowadays, you've got far much more variety from different people in all different walks of life that perhaps don't fit what the label's looking for. And that's going to be championed, really. It's people like yourself. Once again, you wouldn't have had a platform 20 years ago because the technology and the streaming services weren't available. So it's far more open for people, and we're on Spotify with all the other artists, so it's really about just getting out there, and it's a lot easier to do. And good music will always find an audience, whether it's 20 people in Ukraine or 3 people in Azerbaijan that like your stuff. There's an audience for anything, really, isn't there?
It definitely is. And what is a record label these days? Anybody can start. Anybody can say, I've got a fucking record label, and you just one bloke in an office pretending that there's
right. Stroking the cat in a swivel chair.
just thinking they can sign bands and just make stuff happen for them. But there's a lot of that around, just like small record labels that promise to work the earth and deliver nothing. So I think there's the rise of DIY and the ratings and that kind of stuff, just bands that are just doing it themselves without building the team gradually around them and just making stuff happen for them and just enjoying it. in the same time.
100%.
Fuck
I mean,
them,
the
mate.
Ravens, they scored their number one album, didn't they? I
Yeah,
see they were flogging their vinyls at Meadowhall on the
yeah.
last few days
Playing
of the
Sheffield
charts.
Arena.
They're kind of brilliant. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You know, with a label comes a ball and chain. You get large
It becomes a
sum of
bit of
money, and
debt.
they demand your life. It's like
Yeah.
your pound of flesh. Whereas, for someone like us, we've got day jobs as well. We can do what we want. We can fund our own music videos. We can fund our own PR. We can gig when we want. We've not got the demands put on us.
Yeah.
So that's the dynamic you've got nowadays with that DIY mentality.
So where do you see it going next, and what's the next challenge for you? The albums happened. You've got ambitions. You've got a bit of sponsorship. There's publishing stuff going on around you. What's coming up next for Tillerman?
Yeah, so the album's still got to be released. We've just got a couple of tracks to finish. Well, Sean's going to put some lead down. We're going to put that out at the end of the summer. Push another music video single to launch it. And we're going to do something we've seen some other bands that we kind of associated with do, like an online launch, kind of studio performance with cameras and stuff like that. And that's going to go online. We can be able to stream that. So that's something we're going to do, and we're planning at the moment. But we would like to hit some venues and get back on the road again. We haven't played a live gig since 2010, so it's going to be a bit weird. You know what I mean? We've played in the studio together, but we've not actually played a gig since 2010. So after this album launch, we're going to look to get some dates together and do a bit of promo to it and see who turns up, really.
It must be nice to have an album nearly in the bag, just like and you've got a plan for it already. It's all happening, isn't it? That it must be a nice feeling to have an album. We never did an album. We just never had any kind of guidance or anything. We just like gigging and getting pissed. It was brilliant.
It's a great cultural thing, isn't it? It's where you meet mates, and it's where some of your best memories are from, in it. Gigging and writing songs and those experiences and those crap gigs where you play and there's two people behind the bar and there's no one there. We've all been there. Do you know what I mean? It's tough on the circuit. But yeah, so to have an album and say, look, we've done this. It's probably an accumulation of 20 years work. So it's really, really good. We believe it's really good, and we'd like to kind of take that on to another album as well, and to keep writing. Really, I think it's we've got the juices flowing now. It's just good to get back into it. Where it leads, who knows? But it's kind of a long story to where we are now, and it's kind of a fulfillment of our talents, as it were, and our journey over the years. Finally, kind of documenting it and having something to look back on, as opposed to a few demo tapes and scratchy recordings that you took on your phone. You know what I mean? So
it never leaves you.
No, it don't. And I do the school run, and I bump into two or three of the dads on the school run are all used to playing bands, etc. Perhaps they moved down to London and played some gigs and this, that, and the other. And I can see when I talk to them the kind of desire. I can see them saying to themselves, "I'd love to get back into it. I'd love to do it." And I'm kind of thinking, well, why don't you? What's stopping you? Find that time in the week, whether it's just playing for yourself, writing again, get those juices flowing. Find a purpose outside of work that's just not you looking after the kids, paying the bills. Find a reason to exist. Put your creative skills back to the test and do something with it.
Yeah, it's a good message, that just for people that might be listening to this, sat at home thinking, yeah, I'm going to pick up a guitar. Yeah, and if you are listening to this, do pick up that guitar and just have a go, and just have a bit of you time, a bit of music. I say, why not?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's if my kids start picking up a guitar because of some of the stuff that I've done, brilliant. I'd thoroughly recommend getting in a band to any young person. And I don't see
how old are your kids?
My son's 5, my daughter's 8. My son really likes this stuff, and I think he's probably the one that will pick it up. He can hold the tune when my daughter's tone deaf. So
well, she might be able to play some of it.
Yeah. So I'll teach him some stuff and see where it goes. But that'd be great.
Well, I've really enjoyed getting to know you and learning more about Tillerman, mate. Is there anything like a message you'd like to leave for people that are new to Tillerman that you just want to leave them with a little message that, is there something you want to share with the people listening today? Look out for the
All I
album.
would say is, yeah, I mean, our stuff is a bit of a reminisce. If you listen to the stuff, you'll understand where we're pulling the music from. You can hear the Beatles in there, the Kinks, the Stones, Fleetwood Mac, and so on and so forth.
You
If you
could
like that kind
definitely
of stuff,
you could definitely hear it from Nights in White Satin. When I was just listening to the tune,
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
there'll be a link to the review where you can watch the video and stuff in the description of this as well, guys. So
brilliant.
click on the links too. So yeah, so loads of influences from back in the day, and if you like,
Yeah, and then obviously my parents' record collections when I
yeah.
was kind of growing up, like Britpop, the best of Britpop, Pulp, Oasis, Cast, all that kind of stuff. That's influenced us. And there's a big gap. There's 20 years gap between that. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of coming back into fashion. You see a lot of bands. Some bands are sponsored by the specials and all that, and that kind of Manchester sound, that indie pop sound's coming back round again. It's almost ironic that we're having a little bit of moderate attention and success as this is coming back round again. Guitars are coming back in fashion. So if you're into that kind of scene, indie and guitars and the music of the past, then check us out because it definitely ticks a few boxes.
Oh, mate. Well, it's been lovely to catch up with you and join you for this podcast today. Have you got much on with the rest of your day today? It's hot in this room.
Yeah, bedtime run.
Oh, have you got bedtime run? Fair enough. Fair enough.
Bedtime run.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Nice one, mate. Well, thanks for joining us for another edition of the podcast today. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we're here every week. We've got a new show on Monday and a new show on Thursday coming your way. I will be absolutely knackered after Tramlines, but just as a little reminder, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be loads of new content coming out on this podcast, so stay tuned. We've done over 100 shows, ladies and gentlemen, over 100 podcasts. So if you're new to the podcast too, delve into the archives. What you got to lose?